back in 2021 was between 6 and 24 years old because it refers to the generation born between 1997 and 2012. So that being the case, the generation that follows them are folks who were born in 2013. Those are 10-year-olds right now, Generation Alpha. The oldest Zoomers being born in 1997 are 26.
That doesn't feel right, man.
And how you feel?
Okay, so let's do the Mars rover because that won't take terribly long. Mini golf course will.
Did
Okay,
we finish all the Tomb Raider DLCs?
I'm pretty positive we did when they first came out.
Oh my god. Prime Vista 15, bro.
Yeah,
Good grief.
I'm just as unhappy about it as you are.
Hell meow.
Man. You know one thing about the GTA 6 trailer that actually is cool, like the one thing that I think is worth kind of making a big deal out of is that it brought a lot of popularity to a long forgotten song that was always considered to be like a C-list song from Tom Petty. And now that song is suddenly blowing up just because it was in a
You know,
trailer.
yeah, GTA tends to do that pretty often.
Hmm. I loved the radio in Vice City. I would cruise around for hours just listening to the radio.
The Vice City radio was fantastic. The San Andreas radio was fantastic.
Mhm.
Um, I I'm not sure if the GTA 4 radio was good or not because I really can't remember it.
I
And
can't either.
I feel pretty much the same way about GTA 5.
The
Like,
radio in GTA 5 had one song that I remember. It was a Def Leppard Photograph. I don't remember any other songs. Was it? I mean, San Andreas was a lot of rap, right? Or am I remembering wrong?
yes, it was a lot of rap, but at the same time, it was a lot of early '90s music in general. So there's a lot of classic rock there too, because it's the end of almost like a golden age of '80s metal.
Hmm.
And I cannot remember, but matter of fact, I'm gonna Google it right now. San Andreas.
Yeah, Vice City had Michael Jackson. It had Squeeze. It had One Thing Leads to Another, Dance Hall Days. So many good songs on that radio. I barely listened to the radio in 5 because there was so much dialogue related to the story that whenever I was in the car, I was focusing on that.
Exactly. Never had the opportunity to listen to the radio.
Okay, I'm looking at a list of songs they had in the GTA 5.
And I'm looking
Okay,
at
yeah.
San Andreas because what my thinking was is I'm all like, based off the time period, I wonder if San Andreas had grunge. And I'm looking through this, and they got a lot of fucking. They had a lot of classic country in San Andreas, which surprises the hell out of me. They had Willie Nelson, Hank Williams, Conway Twitty.
Mm.
God damn.
Man, there were a lot of songs on the GTA 5 radio. I'm looking at the list now. I mean, most of it's like modern rap, like Travis Scott and ASAP Ferg, stuff that I don't really give a shit about.
No one gives a shit about it.
Oh yeah, Gimme More, Britney Spears. I remember that always played in the strip club.
Oh, cool, though. Low gravity.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Backstreet Boys was on the GTA 5 radio.
Nice.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, Mississippi Queen, Carry On Wayward Son. Okay, they did have like a classic rock station.
And that would be the station I probably listen to.
They had fucking Starship, We Built This City, one of the worst songs ever made.
Lamau.
The Beatles wrote Obla Di Obla Da because they were trying to write the worst song ever and see if people still liked it because people were sniffing their farts so hard they would like even a terrible song. And sure enough, people did like that song and they were like, God damn it. We'll never be
Yep.
able to do anything. We'll never be able to know if the stuff we're making is actually good or not. Man, I can't wait until somebody mods GTA 6 when it gets to the PC so one of the radio stations is InfoWars.
Oh, hell yeah.
I just leave it on there all the time, just endless Alex Jones clips of him screaming about anything.
Yeah, I mean, Tucker did an interview with Alex Jones, or he's doing one that's going to be on Twitter pretty soon. And a lot of people have been talking about it, and they've been talking about getting Alex Jones unbanned and everything. But in the fucking clip where Tucker Carlson posted he was advertising the interview, he was all like, hey guys, Alex Jones accurately predicted 9/11. In July of 2001, Alex Jones was talking about a major terrorist attack was probably going to end up happening to get us involved in a big war in the Middle East. And he's all like, so what are they going to do? Well, they'll probably try to blow up the World Trade Center again because they've already tried that a number of times. And he even named bin Laden. He was like, yeah, they'll probably blame it on some big bad guy like bin Laden that they've been trying to say is the big evil or some shit. I was like, holy fuck. 2 months later.
FBI's wasting a lot of money on surveillance stuff when I guess they can just listen to Alex Jones.
Exactly. The wheel hub thing is in this wheel that I'm trying to spray at right now. I'm trying to get at it from this angle. There we go. I have no idea what the fuck the mystery hatch is.
It's a mystery.
Exactly. I'm gonna run around the map and see if like it's something else. I was exactly correct. Last time we did this, I remember. Yeah, a lot of folks were Twitter that Spider-Man didn't win any awards. I was
Right.
like, really, guys? It was
You know what's
really
interesting? Alan Wake didn't win Game of the Year, but they gave it basically all the non Game of the Year awards that are major. So it actually did very well.
Oh, here we go.
So it was kind of like that thing where like we think BG3 is deserving, but we want to give Alan Wake 2 a lot of credit for being really, really good, so they gave it everything else almost. Okay, now
Yeah.
we just got one more to do.
As long as Baldur's Gate actually wins Game of the Year like it should, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. Because I mean, there's been plenty of good games that have come out this year, but none of them are even close
Mhm.
to Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 2, 3 won Game of the Year. Best Game Direction went to Alan Wake 2. Best Narrative was Alan Wake 2. And Best Art Direction was Alan Wake 2. Best Score / Music was Final Fantasy 16. Best Audio Design was Hi-Fi Rush. Best Performance was Neil Newbon of Baldur's Gate 3, which I was not expecting.
Nice. Did they put down who he? Because they're
Asterion.
like, all right, that makes sense. Because I'm not going to recognize voice actors' names. Uh, in our playthrough, Asterion was not part of our group, so
Yeah.
you did miss out on a lot of story there. But Asterion did have a very nice story. But I think another reason that pushes it over the edge in terms of popularity is that Asterion is a vampire. And he's a very flamboyant,
hmm
canonically gay vampire. So that's just like, the vast majority of broads and feminine men are going to be all over that, definitely.
Well, the crazy thing is, he beat out Idris Elba from Cyberpunk. Like, that's an
That
actual actor.
right, and that's a very good thing because number one, you shouldn't just hand over awards to actual actors just because they decided to be in a game. I mean, imagine if fucking Patrick Stewart won an award for playing the Emperor in Oblivion. It's like, you fucking kidding? But I'm sure Idris Elba's role was more.
Should have given it to
Uh,
J.K. Simmons for Baldur's Gate 3.
I mean, unironically, but I love that shit.
There's a lot
Your
of
your
evil in
mother,
your mother.
your mother took a grown adult-sized shit in my Dockers, Mark.
And I don't, there's a lot of evil in your mother, Mark. And I don't know if I can fuck it all out.
That was amazing. I hope somebody shows J.K. Simmons that clip. Oh yeah, I forgot how big this map was. Jesus,
Innovation in accessibility. Forza Motorsport. And then they have a
I don't
couple
know
of
what that.
indie game. Oh, best ongoing, which is basically awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time. So basically, it's an award for a game that fucked up at launch and then eventually got better because they released patches.
I guess Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk won that.
Yeah, everyone's trying to hardcore cope like, oh, Cyberpunk's the game they all said it would be. It's like, did they improve it? I am absolutely sure that they did. Is it the game they promised? Not even close. Like they made Fable level promises, bro. Like, take the L. Be glad that they're trying to fix it, but definitely take the L on that one. Is my perspective.
Best community support was Baldur's Gate 3.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, to explain why that was the case, Karlach ended up being a much more popular character than they thought. During the early access, she wasn't even playable.
Oh, really?
She wasn't, yeah. And then they said, okay, you know what? Fuck it. So, like, then they added her as a companion because people, she was, like a tertiary related tiefling, like some of the other people we meet in the Grove.
hmm
And people loved her so much, they were like, all right, sure, let's fucking give her a story and make her a party member. And then when the game launched, and this is around the time that you and I are starting to play it, People were really upset with her ending because since she was never designed to be a player character and they just made her one due to fandom at the last minute, the ending was initially kind of underwhelming. But then they added a lot more content for her ending, specifically to give a much more satisfying conclusion to her storyline, and uh, also a lot extra scenes to do with the romance. So all of that was just due to the fans being like, "Hey, we really like Karlak. Can you give us more Karlak stuff?" I said, "Sure." That was all for free. They never charged a penny for any of that.
Right.
You just
Nominated,
don't see that from developers these days.
also nominated in that category was No Man's Sky, which is, I guess they fixed
Yeah,
that game.
that
I
makes
people generally say they like it now, which blows me away.
people have been they've been working on it for years to try to make it like it went from being the biggest disappointment ever to people can't say enough good things about it. Like, in fact, fuck, even my dad played it. Like, he played it for like 2 years. He
Hmm.
really enjoyed it. Good grief.
Guess what won Best VR/AR?
Because of the chuckle, I'm gonna assume it's like some kind of porn game or some shit.
Well, basically, it's Resident Evil Village.
Exactly.
I mean, that it's literally because of, yeah, right? I
Yeah,
mean, what the fuck else is
exactly.
it?
It's because of the lingerie plus give her even more gigantic titties mods, and then I'm gonna bury my face in her ass.
Best action game was Armored Core 6. Wow, this was not a very good year for action games, was it? Dead Island 2 got nominated, and that game was just kind of meh.
Maybe we should check it out sooner than later.
Hmm.
But as I continue to remind myself, that game's not fucking cross-platform. Feels bad, dude.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Best Action/Adventure, which I think is bullshit because that was the category Resident Evil 4 was nominated in, and Resident Evil 4 was way better than Tears of the Kingdom.
Absolutely. Like, I know that Legend of Zelda has extremely rabid fanboys, and has been for a very long period of time. But like, you're you're gonna have a hard time convincing anybody that that's just a better all-around game than the Resident Evil 4 remake. Because everyone's talking about how the Resident Evil 4 remake wasn't just the best remake that Capcom's done so far, which is really saying a lot,
Yeah.
but also was just as good, if not better, than the original. And considering Resident Evil 4 is literally a Pantheon game, and while I think that Legend of Zelda is a Pantheon series, I don't think any one particular game in the series is Pantheon.
The thing is, Tears of the Kingdom is so similar to Breath of the Wild that it's almost just as much of a remake as Resident Evil 4 is. Like, they added
Right.
very little to the Zelda formula.
I would agree with that because when I was watching you play it, it genuinely didn't seem like anything different than when you were playing Breath of the Wild.
They changed the
Like I,
powers, that's about it.
uh,
Which does change the experience, but we're still talking about the exact same basic formula.
right.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, okay,
And Baldur's Gate won Best RPG, of course. It would have been pretty weird if it didn't, if it won Game of the Year.
seriously,
Best fighting game, Street Fighter 6. That was pretty obvious.
yeah. It's a shame. MK1 really it has a lot of potential because like every MK game has a lot of potential.
Hmm.
When they come out, a lot of people always have the same reaction. This Mortal Kombat game is way worse than the last one. Then they work on it for a few years, and then it's like, oh yeah, this one's way better. Then they come out with the next Mortal Kombat game. They're like, oh man, the last one was way better. And it's all like when that one fucking came out, you guys kept saying it was shit.
Best
It
family
keeps happening.
game is Mario Bros. Wonder. Pretty obvious. You might like this,
Well, how
though.
do
Oh, go ahead. before I
How do
forget.
they define family game? Do they mean like oriented towards children, or do they
Yes.
mean
Yes.
like fun for families to play together?
Appropriate for family play. So the other nominees were the Sonic game, the Pikmin game, Party Animals, and Disney Illusion Island. So games that you could play with your 6-year-old and feel fine about. Next, in a couple years, GTA 6 will win that category because what better
Seriously.
way is there to raise your 6-year-old than to teach them about the you know what?
Andy. Daddy, I ran over all the people at the beach who were twerking on the roof of cars. Good job, son. I'm very proud of you. Jesus Christ.
You'll like this though. The best sim
My
slash
hold on.
strategy.
My
Okay.
my my game may have crashed.
Oh shit. Okay.
Because it's just frozen for me right now. Okay, now I got a black screen. I have no idea what's happening.
Oh shit. I see you. I don't know if you can look at the stream right now, but you're
I
basically
can't.
you look
My
like
my
in the first Matrix movie when Trinity does the jump kick right at the start, the first ever camera rotation. That's exactly what you look like right now. You're jumped in the middle of the air, floating there with your body all coiled up.
Okay, I don't know what the hell happened here, but I actually have to restart my computer. My monitor's not wait, no. Hold on. For some reason my monitor just was not receiving signal from my graphics card, and
Huh.
now it is. But something's loading. I think I might get the blue screen pretty soon here. Can you
Okay.
still hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got you.
All right, there we go. Yeah, it just finally told me that the game crashed. That was an ordeal. Good grief.
Pikmin
Yeah,
4
I'll come back in as soon as I can.
Pikmin 4 won best slim sim slash strategy game, even over City Skylines 2, which surprises the hell out of me.
Yeah, me too. Stem. Like I haven't seen any gameplay of the Pikmin. That's man, that's crazy.
I assume it's similar to the
Okay,
originals.
here. Well, yeah, but the originals are definitely strategy games. I agree with that. But Stem, I can only assume that the category just lumps in strategy games with sim games.
Yes.
So that you're right that that is a tremendous disservice to City Skyline 2, which deserved to win Best Sim. It should be a separate category. Um, yeah, I get Pikmin winning a strategy category. I don't. That should be separate categories. It's really bad.
Hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, I get AMD bug report tool. AMD software detected that a driver timeout has occurred on your system. An issue report has been created that can be sent to AMD to help us improve our software. Would you like to report this issue or not? The the PowerWash crashing caused my drivers to crash.
Is it okay now though?
Yes, everything's fine now. The system just needed to reset itself, which I'm grateful it did without me having to restart my computer. I've just never seen that before.
Forza Motorsport won Sports Game of the Year. Multiplayer was Baldur's Gate over Diablo 4, which that's pretty big. Now I know Diablo 4
Yeah,
kind of vanished, like it didn't make a cultural impact, but it's definitely a
yeah,
more normie game than Baldur's Gate, I think.
yeah. That 100%. That is utterly hilarious. That Diablo 4 face planted to such an extent that Baldur's Gate 3 actually managed to usurp the fantasy sword and sorcery Dungeons and Dragons style dungeon crawling experience, even for multiplayer.
Yeah.
That is truly astonishing. Blizzard should be humiliated, to be frank. Okay, I'm back in.
But
So yeah, what I was intending to do, I mean, we kind of picked up on it subconsciously, kind of. From the entrance, I was gonna go left and wrap around, and then it looked like you were going right to wrap
yep,
around.
I'm good with that.
I'll leave the ladder here with you so that you can use it,
Hmm. Man, they did
just
one
because I want to clean the
they
front
did
of the
one
thing.
category for content creator of the year. I don't know any of these fucking people.
Yeah, three guesses why you don't know any of them. It's because the guys who normally should win are persona non grata.
Like, who the fuck is Iron Mouse? I have no idea who that is.
I've never heard of that guy either.
Yeah, it's Iron Mouse, People Make Games, Quackity, Spreen, and Cypher PK. I don't know any of those fucking people.
How much you want to bet those guys are unironically making "Don't Drink the Kobe" potion at 3 a.m. in Colorado?
Or they're VTubers.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. Um, Especially if they have like an anime cat girl avatar.
Yeah, Iron Mouse literally has a cat girl. Um, literally
Good
has an
grief.
anime avatar.
Fucking crazy. You know, this is one thing that's very handy also about the clicking on the thing. You can actually see the full extent of what the item is considered.
Right.
Super helpful.
Yeah, LeBron
How does
wants that tournament win so badly. It's kind of sad.
100%? Yeah, and Frank even said it like, you know, as a Lakers fan and a LeBron fan, he even spoke into existence the reason why. So it can be yet another feather in the cap of LeBron, another meaningless accolade to make him the GOAT. Even though it's like, you know, all this shit is happening during an era where star players across the league have never cared less about the regular season. You know, barely being able to play 60 games a year to the point where the league actually had to bring in punishments for not playing at least 65 games in a season. Do you really think back in the day when Jordan was winning MVPs and everyone was playing as hard as they could every single game and everyone was playing like 82 games unless they got severe debilitating injuries? Do you really think in instances like that other guys in the all-time great category would never have won one of those tournaments? It's just nuts. LeBron won the first ever play-in tournament. Yeah, and he did it during a year where no one gave a shit. Like,
Yeah. The biggest tournament storyline is that teams are running up the score for point differential.
exactly. LeBron won the first play-in tournament during a year where they literally played Haka with 9 minutes left in the game, up by 30. They could run up the score for point differential. Like that's fucking pathetic.
Well, yeah, JS, that's kind of the issue. It's like they're trying to make basketball more like soccer, and soccer sucks.
Exactly. They're trying to make it more like soccer because they want it to be more popular internationally. It's funny, the two obvious cities for an expansion team when they expand the league is Seattle and Las Vegas. But during an interview talking about the potential for Seattle to get a team again, and they're talking about expanding the league and the expansion teams, all Adam Silver could talk about was Mexico City. It's like, you fucking kidding me? You take the Sonics away, and then you give Mexico City a fucking team before you give the Sonics back? What the fuck is that shit? I mean, that's not going to happen, but it's a great example of, where their head's at. That the only thing they care about is, okay, we need people all around the world, because then we'll be seeing, billions and billions and billions of dollars in revenue every year. Adam Silver acting like he wants the NBA to be the first $1 trillion business in the world. You know, um, I saw a thing on Pizza Hut. I was looking at this deal that was being offered. And in current year, with all the inflation prices skyrocketing and all this kind of crap, this actually sounded like a pretty good deal. Called the dinner box. There's also the big dinner box, which is way more expensive, but the dinner box is the smaller, cheaper option, where you get a medium one-topping pizza, 5 breadsticks with dipping sauce, and 10 Cinnabon, because they're partnered with Cinnabon apparently. Cinnabon sticks with icing dipping cup for $20. Just $20.
If the pizza's good, that is solid. You could feed the whole fam with that.
Yeah. So I'm like, wow, that's in the current year with prices being fucking outrageous like they are, that is kind of nuts. I can't stay on this thing, jeez. Need to
So I'm gonna see the new Godzilla movie this weekend. It's
Nice.
gonna be interesting.
I'm sure.
We're sitting all the way in the back because we have to read the whole movie, so we want to be able to see the whole screen at once.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The top promoted streamer right now is Asian Bunny X. I've never heard of her.
Oh, I seen that one in my trending. You know, when you're looking at your follow list, it'll be like, here's what's trending right now on Twitch.
Yeah.
It's because I'm like 99% sure she's a former porn star. If she's not, then she's just like way fucking out there titty streamer. Because technically, the only thing you need to do in order to not get in trouble is just not have nipples showing. If she just like got her fucking tits out and very obviously out, she's just not showing the nipples. Like, how the fuck is this allowed on a website that's supposed to cater to children? But yeah, that's why she's number one.
No, that's I mean, it's one thing to
Pathetic.
allow her; it's another thing to promote her.
Oh, money's money, and Jeff Bezos don't care, and Twitch has pretty much always been operating at a loss. So
Yeah.
kind of wild when you think about it. You know, content creators on YouTube, on Twitch, on various other streaming sites. Back in the day, people would become a celebrity. They do it by becoming famous, but they do it in an industry that actually made money, that made a profit. Streaming and internet content creation does not. And that's kind of really crazy to think about.
I used Alexa for the first time ever today.
Nice.
I was at the dentist
What
and it
for?
was controlling the radio. So before they started my procedure, they were like, they put it on the radio station I wanted, and after I was waiting for like the cement to harden and stuff, I was just sitting there listening to the radio so I could go, Alexa, play next song whenever I wanted it to go to the next song.
Oh, Alexa, play Moon Man. Fantastic.
It's fun to stay at the YMCA. Alexa, play show tunes.
Uh-oh. There we go. All right, I think that's enough focus on that side now. BIs. So did you see that thing I sent you about Fitzpatrick sitting on Brian Flores?
Yeah, I did see that.
That was fantastic.
Mhm.
Brian Flores is just like ruined and never gets a coaching job again.
He's actually
Sack of shit.
doing a very interesting job for the Minnesota Vikings this year, I must admit.
The Vikings are a very confusing team.
You know, at you know, given the fact that once he got fired, he decided to blame racism, it's kind of weird that he sided with Herbert over Tua and apparently really wanted Herbert.
That's, yeah. Great point.
Like, what's up with that? Any similarities between us and the Steelers? I don't think so. I think the Steelers actually like I don't know. I think the Steelers are getting derailed by injuries more than anything else. I think that if it weren't for the injuries, they'd be fine. I don't think we've been derailed by injuries. Remember, Tomlin always loses to god awful teams. He has that weird stat where like pretty much every year he loses to some team that ends up going like 2-14 or 3-13 or some shit. Like that is just a Tomlin thing to do. He doesn't do a good job getting his team ready to play really big shitters.
Yeah. Like his calling card.
Yeah, and I think fans of both teams really, really wish they would just have one really bad season so they could get rid of the coach. Like I think most Steelers fans are like, can we please just go 2-15 so we can get rid of this fucking guy? I mean, a lot of the Steelers fans that I know have wanted to fire Tomlin for like 13 years, but
Yeah, very long time.
I think there are some who didn't want him fired until very recently that are just like, can you put us out of our damn misery?
Yeah, I think he's been carried by Ben for a very long period of time, and that if they didn't have that caliber of excellence getting them by when they really shouldn't have been, and other guys too, like
Free
when they
C
had
D E
the
A B.
the three Bs that whole
Mm-hmm.
era. Tomlin's been getting by in situations where if it had been another team, he wouldn't have been because he just can't produce, and it's a death for you if you're a coach.
I mean, the real thing is, ever since they lost that Super Bowl to the Packers, I don't think they've had like one deep playoff run, and they got ass blasted in the AFC title game. Like they've made one real run in what is it now? 12 years.
Yeah,
Like they always make the playoffs or almost make the playoffs, and then they don't do anything.
and they've had a lot of talent.
Mm-hmm. Also,
I have
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have long held by the mindset that coaching is the most misunderstood thing in professional sports. People never know when to credit coaching, and people never know when to blame it. But I think there's a lot of validity in criticizing Tomlin and wanting him gone, and for having felt that way for a long time, and just hoping that now is like, okay, we should be moving on in a new direction. After Ben
Oh,
retired, this is a new era, new Steelers.
uh, one
Should have a
second.
new coach too.
Shit, one
Yeah, no
second.
problem.
Okay, we are back. Oh, wow. Grand Theft Auto 5 had I Got 5 on it on the radio. I don't remember ever hearing that.
What's up?
No, I'm looking at some of the radio songs on GTA 5. I Got 5 on it was one of them. I don't remember that.
I do remember hearing that.
Channel X, punk rock. Alice in Chains has a song called Social Parasite. Based.
I really don't view Alice in Chains as punk rock. It's grunge.
I
Like
agree.
grunge is not punk. That is so weird.
John Wayne was a Nazi. I've never heard of that song before. That's an interesting one.
I wish that was true. They'll call him that because he hated communists.
I have no idea why they call him that, but I'm sure it's for a good reason. That is completely reasonable and in no way makes you sound like a complete crazy person to anybody with critical thinking skills.
Seriously.
So I looked it up the other day. Apparently, Max Payne 2 is actually shorter than Max Payne 1. Like, I was looking at it, I could maybe beat it in one stream, but definitely two. So at some point in the near future, I probably will do it because it'll take such a short amount of time.
Oh, that's good.
I don't know Max Payne 2 nearly as well as I do the original, but like it's probably easier on top of being shorter.
The two tend to go hand in hand. That's for sure.
There's a lot of evil in your mother, son.
I really love that.
Yeah. I don't know what. I mean, their defense sucked tonight too. Honestly, Bailey Zappi threw for 3 touchdowns in the first half. Cause I'm Zappy, clap along if you feel like zappiness is the truth.
Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know how many people were expecting Zappy to just pop the fuck off, but he did.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Zappy's any good either, and I think tonight is just indicative of the fact that the Steelers sucked. But what an indictment on Mac Jones.
Seriously.
The N word is just a word.
Say it. Oh, I'm not going to say it. I love it. You looked into the camera with terror in his eyes. I say it in my private life many times.
Yeah. That's what got Paula Dean canceled, remember?
Yeah.
She didn't even say it. She just said, I have said it before. And it was Gigi.
I have said it before, and it was cool. I was singing along to a Tupac song.
I like how he got Taco Bell and made the director pay while filming. I mean, given how bad that documentary made Boogie look, I guess it's fair that the director gave him $15 for a Taco Bell meal. Like, that's a good trade off.
That fucking meme of the trade guy. Uh, I receive all of your dignity and all the proceeds from selling this documentary online. You receive Taco Bell.
Boogie would actually take that deal because he intentionally doesn't want to have dignity because his whole thing is, I want to be as pathetic as possible so people feel sorry for me.
Exactly.
So he'd be like,
Surprised
hell
he doesn't
yeah.
just come out and publicly say that he wears diapers. Like,
Yeah, and
make it
one
even worse.
one thing that some people pointed out, so when he's in the job interview for the staffing agency, and near the end he says, I worked in the porn industry for 7 years.
Oh God.
What
Yeah.
he actually did was he designed a website for a porn maker for 7 years. So if he really wanted to get a job, he would have just said, I did website design for 7 years.
Right.
But because
And if
he's
they push for specifics, you say, well, it was in the adult entertainment industry. You got to do what you got to do. But we're still valid with all that. But he said what he said to intentionally tank the interview. Ugh,
I
what
wish
a
I wish I was more versed in Magic the Gathering to realize how much of his dignity he was selling. From the little bit that I know, um, I mean, his Magic collection is probably worth like 10 grand. Although I'm willing to bet he's taking a bath on it, selling it now. Like, those cards that he was selling were reserve list cards, which means they're never going to be made again. So the longer you sit on them in good condition, the better it's going to get. So, like, he was selling those cradles to the game store guy. Probably got like 500 for it. Like, those cradles are only going to go up and up over time as more of the old ones get lost or destroyed. Like, that's one thing that Magic does really well. They have these cards that become really rare because they're just like, we're going to make these and then it's over. But I really like how unprepared he was when he went to go sell his Magic cards. Like, he brought in these cards that he thought he was going to get 450 a piece for, and then the guy's like, "Well, I can do 200 a piece for these." And then Boogie looks it up on his phone and realizes the cards are worth a lot less than he thought. I'm like, why wouldn't you look that up before you go to the negotiating table?
So then he'd look even more pathetic. That's it. He wins both ways. Jesus.
I remember one time when I was young, my mom asked me if I was interested in getting into something like Magic, and I said no. And I can't say I regret it, but I do wonder. I mean, the thing is, when you open card packs, like, you have to leave the cards unopened for them to really maintain their value,
Right.
which I never would have done back then because that's boring.
Exactly.
But I probably would have taken really good care of them. It's actually wild how even trading card crates are a form of gambling now. I mean, I feel like it's a form of gambling that you're pretty guaranteed to profit on as long as you do it enough and you take care of the stuff that you get and preserve it well. Because, again, there are certain cards that are just going to go up in value because the only thing that determines the value is whether or not there's cards in existence. What we need is a clip of Boogie going on Pawn Stars trying to sell his Magic cards to the pawn shop owner, and him just being like, "What the fuck is this nerd shit? Get the fuck out of here."
Boogie would waddle in there, and then out of breath, he'd finally plop down in a chair, and then say, "Do you guys have Battletoads?" God, there's still so much clean. My God, how did this place even get this dirty?
Uh, I'd have to go off stream to answer that.
Uh-oh. Well, it all depends on where this golf course is based.
Mhm.
Here's the answer to your question. It's on Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Yeah, JS, that one makes even less sense to me because it's not even a physical item. Like skins in Counter-Strike being worth thousands of dollars. Like that one, like at least with a Magic the Gathering card or a Pokemon card, it's a physical object. But a fucking Counter-Strike skin?
I don't get that one either. There are people who do that for an actual job. Trade trade cosmetics in online games like Counter Strike. I could understand it to an extent. I mean, that's how Dota 2 did cosmetics. For a while, I played Dota 2 for about 2 years, and I bought cosmetics a couple of times. And you buy it off the Steam Workshop. You buy it for real money. The difference between buying skins in other games is you buy the skin from the developer themselves. That there's an infinite supply of the skins because you're buying it from the developers themselves, versus the way that it works in a game like Dota 2, where the cosmetics exist from a drop crate. So there's only a finite amount of those because you have to get the drop crate, and then someone has the cosmetic. Now there's more of a certain cosmetic than other kinds, but now instead of buying it from the developer, you're buying it from the guy who got the loot box. So it creates the economy in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when I was buying Dota 2 cosmetics fucking 10 years ago, it's like 10, $15. Some of these Counter Strike cosmetics that people go crazy over, they're selling for six figures. Oh my god, I got this super rare Counter Strike cosmetic. It's on the Steam Workshop. It's valued at $175,000. Like, what the fuck?
I guess it's kind of like crypto. I mean, is it really any different from NFTs now that I think about it?
Not really, because I mean, like, that's the thing. With some of these cosmetics, they're exactly like other cosmetics that are more popular, and very very common throughout the game. If the super rare one has like special effects on it that signify it as being the one that this fucking guy bought for almost 200 grand. But like when you're actually playing the game and you have it equipped and you're using it, people can't tell. They can't tell the difference between that and the one that everyone else has.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is the point? I mean, imagine if the only way to tell that someone was driving a BMW is uh like the inside of the car, the decal on the steering wheel. Otherwise, it looked exactly like a Toyota Camry.
Yeah, it is weird. I mean, I guess it's just like NFTs, so I guess not all NFTs lost their value.
Yeah, it's just fucking nuts. It is gonna take me forever to get where you are when we meet in the middle here. Good God,
Mm-hmm.
there's just so much filth. Time.
Yeah, JS, I still have only seen the first episode. I'm gonna watch more probably tomorrow. I guess the main character was appeared in The Dark Knight Rises, Juno Temple, but I didn't look it up. I can't remember what role she played in The Dark Knight Rises. I'll look it up now. Juno Temple. Jen. Oh, Selena Kyle's roommate. Okay.
That's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
I'm
Man,
like,
she's
there
like
really
too
weren't
much.
all that many women in The Dark Knight Rises, so not too hard to think of which role she might have been.
Yeah. The first time I ever tried to suck my own penis. Yeah, man. NIL NIL is ruining everything for everyone in pro football. Is Anne Hathaway Catwoman S tier? You know, she's actually the only Catwoman that I've ever seen because I have never seen Batman Returns all the way through. And I never saw the Halle Berry movie. And I didn't watch the Batman animated series that had Catwoman. So all I have is Catwoman from The Dark Knight Rises. And yeah, that's it.
Poor guy.
I
I
mean,
mean, I like Anne Hathaway, but man, putting her in that suit was not a good decision.
I think she plays the role extremely well, but I don't know if there's anything extraordinary about it.
Yeah. There we go. Finally, fuck.
Whatever happened to Halo Infinite? Like, did they never actually get around to fixing that thing to where it was in a state that people would want to play it? I remember you and me were talking about whenever they make it good and put co-op in, we'll do it, and it never happened, did
Yeah.
it?
Nope. I think Bungie definitely the thing was dead on arrival.
Nugget, I think it deserved to win Game of the Year, and I think it's correct that it did.
And I really think it's funny that there are people malding on Twitter that Spider-Man didn't win it.
Now, Spider-Man didn't win anything. I think they were malding about that more than anything.
Well, did Spider-Man really deserve to win anything?
I mean, do you think the guy who played Asterion deserved to win it? Some would argue Lowenthal, who played Spider-Man, should have won it, but I don't know.
Right, and the Asterion story was super good. He had I don't want to bastardize it by trying to give a crappy summation of it, but it was a well executed story. Plus, he was a sassy gay character, which is like exactly what people want and love so much these days.
I wish they'd given it to Gale.
Gale had some absolutely hilarious moments. If you were romancing Gale, you have the ability to in the city in Act 3. We didn't spend a ton of time there, but I don't know if you remember the brothel with some story beats inside the brothel. There were drow twins in there, and as a mission quest reward, you get a certificate to have a free sexcapade with the drow twins if you want, and you have the ability to request a foursome if you're in a relationship. So you're like, hey, you know, you ask your romance partner, hey, you want to join in? And most of them utterly reject you.
Hmm.
Gale says, sure, why the hell not? But Gale is so shy. What he does is he makes his magical projection be the one to participate, and he literally watches from the corner of the room. I'm like, literally, the only thing that's missing is him dressed up like Superman, and he'd be the meme. Like, my God, it was fucking hysterical.
The Blade game is from Bethesda, huh? Are they going to make it like an open world RPG, or are they going to just make it an action game? So yeah, Sega went hard at the for game announcements today. Shinobi, Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio. Uh, I think there was one or two others as well that I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it all looked really good. I wish the Blade game was Wesley Snipes' Blade. Seymour, I made it, despite your directions.
Redfall? Oh boy. Man, how does a game like Redfall not completely tank your studio? Like, how are they still allowed to make games after Redfall?
Great question.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, Big Country. Like, what is Elder Scrolls 6 going to do that is going to pull people in? Like, Starfield is already kind of like Starfield already basically blew through people's minds. Like, if they release Skyrim, isn't it just going to be Starfield with a medieval skin on it for the most part? Like, what can they do to separate themselves from Starfield? Because while Starfield was a fairly well received game, it did not make any kind of an impact. I mean, I guess the obvious answer would be to make the RPG elements more in depth, not super shallow like in Starfield. But there's got to be something else too, or else like how are you going to separate it from Skyrim other than just having better graphics? Maybe Elder Scrolls 6 should do what GTA 6 is going to do and have a lot of black people in it.
It takes place in Hammerfell.
And then just like caption and just give it the tagline, "You thought GTA 6 set back black people? Wait till they get a load of
Just
me."
wait until you exactly. Just wait until you see all the Redguard women twerking on horses. Jesus. One way to make Elder Scrolls 6 be well received is to actually, for the first time ever, deliver on the promise of large scale. And what I mean by that is We had Oblivion, where the Oblivion crisis was supposed to be a global catastrophe, and it was like a couple of guys versus the Oblivion Gate, which had like maybe 7 demons in it. And then there was the Skyrim Civil War, which was supposed to be a huge event, and it was just, again, a couple of fucking guys. It was all like, how about, if you're going to have a huge event going on, you just actually deliver on that kind of scale for the first time ever. If you do that, I think you'll definitely pull people in.
Like have it be like Lord of the Rings or something with the scope of the battles.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember way back in the day, things like Dynasty Warriors were capable of doing that. And there was this one game I really enjoyed playing called Viking Battle for Asgard that was pretty similar to that. It had, huge scale battles that weren't just like, oh, there's shit going on in the background. No, just all of it was real. All of it was happening. All of it was interactable. Fucking said that shit, now I want to play it because I know it's still on Steam. Put that on my wish list. That game came out when I was in fucking high school, man. It was like 2008 or 9, I think.
One guy on Twitter talking about GTA 6 about it setting back black people. Nah, this is a positive. Everyone can live their hood fantasies from the comfort of their home instead of ruining their life trying to do it for real. Huge win for John Morant.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Similarly, the rest of us can live out our TND fantasies without ending up on a list. Good news for Luca. There we go. Hey, 69% clean when I finish the dragon. Let's go.
Hmm. Do you think that GTA 6 is going to be the most hyped video game ever? Or do you still think like Halo 3 would hold that or something like that?
There's lots of other games that are hyped up more already. I feel like Cyberpunk was one. Um, there's the hype surrounding a lot of games that'll never come out, like Half-Life 3, that is
Yeah, I figure
bigger.
it has to come out or else it doesn't
Um,
really count.
in terms of people anticipating it, I think it's definitely up there, but I still don't think it's the most ever. People just been excited for them to do it for a long time.
I guess Metal Gear was never mainstream enough to be hyped on that level, but I remember being hella hyped for like Metal Gear Solid 3. Spending 12 hours on a 56K modem downloading a 30-second trailer.
Seriously. Yeah, Phantom Pain had a ton of hype for it, in the sense of people being super excited for it.
Like I think Halo 3 had a commercial at the Super Bowl. I don't know if any other video
Yeah.
games ever had that. I kind of feel like StarCraft 2, by the time it came out, it had taken so long it wasn't really that hyped anymore. Like I played StarCraft 2 and I
Maybe it
liked
was in
it,
Korea.
but I don't recall StarCraft 2 being a bunch of gamers like having this giant erection in their pants over it. It felt like it took a little too long for them to get to it.
Oh,
No Man's Sky was pretty hyped, but I don't know, it's hard when you're not a sequel. Yeah, Killzone was hyped, but it was console exclusive, so to a certain, I mean, well then again, so was Halo 3, I guess.
remember Killzone, the Halo killer. Everyone was still focused on being the killer of whatever was popular. The WoW killer, the Halo killer, the StarCraft killer. How about just make something good?
Yeah, I don't get the sense that Red Dead 2 was that hyped. I could be wrong, but I think it just had like a normal amount of hype for a well-received game.
It had a normal amount of hype, yeah, because Red Dead 1 was very popular among the people who played it, but not a ton of people played it. Westerns weren't really considered, you know, something that people gave a shit about,
It's
and that's
also the
something that's
only
still true.
mainstream game I've ever seen that Razor Fist also likes.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to let go. I mean, he liked the two most recent Deus Ex games, Human Revolution and Mankind Divided.
Oh yeah, Human. I played Human Revolution. That's a Pantheon game for me.
Yeah, he fucking loved those. He said those were better Cyberpunk games than actual Cyberpunk. Right.
I mean, GTA 5 was crazy hyped. I remember going to a plane trade for the release party of Grand Theft Auto 5, and there were like 100 other people crammed in there waiting to pick up their copy.
Must have smelled amazing.
But it was an event for sure, man.
Like,
Diablo 3. I was not super into the Diablo stuff back then, so I don't know how hyped Diablo 3 was. But
it had a fair amount of hype. Not like all-time hype, but Diablo 2 is extremely popular, and there was a long time period between the Diablo 2 and 3 release. People had really high hopes and expectations for 3, and that's why 3 is considered really bad by a lot of people. It's not because it was a bad game, but because it didn't meet the hype and expectations.
like, didn't the game not really work because the network, like it?
Yeah, on launch, it struggled from server capacity. Funnily enough, they didn't learn their lesson at all, and 4 had the same exact problem.
I remember my brother, he and his friends would bring their computers over to our house and hook it up in a LAN so they could play Diablo 3 together.
And kids these days have no idea what we used to have to do to play video games.
Have you ever gone to a 16-person Halo party where you hook up
Yes,
all four on four different TVs?
yes. As a matter of fact, that's how I found out I was actually good at Halo. I had only ever just played it by myself for a very long period of time, and I just played single player over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden, I go to a LAN party, and we had 32 fucking people playing against each other, and I came in first place by a fucking mile. And I was like, am I actually good at this? Like, everyone else just suck?
So that would have
I was
been
like, what the
eight.
hell's going on?
That would have been 8 Xboxes, right?
Yeah,
Wow,
they're uh,
I didn't know you could do
yeah.
push it that far.
Filipino kid, uh, whose family was really well off. They had a really big house, and that was a great party. And I remember that moment fondly. Um, his mother cooked a lot of food, and it was really excellent. It was the first time I ever had lumpia, and became a love affair for the rest of my life. I love that shit, and I'll never be able to forget that guy because I had a great time there, and he invited a ton of people to his birthday, and a lot of people showed up. And like, not a lot of people knew him. You know, he wasn't a really popular guy, but his parents really came through for him. They hosted a great party. A lot of people had fun, and he was really well liked for a while. In fact, he was so well liked that some broad came along and tried to destroy that and falsely accused him of some really fucked up shit. So he missed the last 2 years of high school. He basically had to go by himself in order to finish it because there was no way he was going to do it on campus. Sometime after graduation, it ended up coming out that the whole thing was made up and all this. And when I was finding that out, was right around the time a lot of other things were happening in my life. It really awoke me to how things had happened. I was like, man, that's a really fucked up person who does that kind of shit. And I haven't heard anything from or about that guy in a very long time since. It's like, man, things really quickly can just go so badly when someone just makes up some awful shit, and no one cares about checking it before they start freaking out. The accusation's enough to destroy a man's life.
Yeah. What does my shirt say? It's a Mariner shirt. It's like an old timey Mariner shirt using the old logo. But anyway, yeah. Well, if his family was so well off, they should have been able to get Johnny Cochran on the case to destroy that woman's reputation.
If only. I feel bad for him thinking back on it. He was a good fella. Well, anyway, such is life.
Yeah.
The lesson there is be careful. You never know who the fuck's gonna do what kind of crazy shit to you for
Someone in the
whatever reason.
chat, someone in the chat just said didn't know Snacks went to school with Matareza.
I wish.
It's so weird now thinking back. Like I was gaming during that time period where playing games online was like really hard. I got a network adapter for my PS2 once, and I basically never used it because I was afraid of it. I was like, I'm gonna screw this thing up. I'm not gonna be able to use it right. Like, this thing lets me connect my PlayStation to the internet? Are you fucking kidding me? And I was just scared of it,
Yeah,
so I never used it.
yeah. It was. I had a lot of very similar experiences myself, like trying to learn how to pirate stuff. Once I actually learned how to do it myself, it seemed so easy. I was like, man, even a child could do this. But back in the day, when it was just friends of mine who had successfully pirated things, I thought they were like wizards.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, how'd you do that? Like the easiest shit in the world to download a torrent. You just hope that you're not downloading some crazy, awful shit malware.
Mm-hmm.
And this was, decades before crypto, so you didn't have to worry about Bitcoin miners.
Right. Oh, one second, guys. I gotta step away for just a moment. Okay, we are back. Hmm. Yeah, JS, I remember I had a friend hook me up one time with a disc that had like I want to say like 600 ROMs of NES, SNES, and PS1 games and stuff with the emulators to play them. That was pretty cool. A lot of them didn't work, but most of them did. And this was obviously back before I really understood how easy it was to get ROMs. Like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Even back then, the files weren't that big, so even on a 56K modem, you could pull them down. Yeah. Supposedly, if you mod your Wii, you can still, like, play Mario Kart Wii Online and stuff, even though Nintendo
That's
shut down the
insane.
servers. So yeah, there's still like a pretty big modding community. There are mods to play Mario Kart at like 999,999 CC. You just endlessly launch yourself off the map every time you tap the gas.
Hilarious. Let me check.
86%. Yeah, I don't get that either, David. Makes no sense. I don't think so, Gino, for MVP. I wouldn't go there. All right. Let's see here. 86%. We are almost there. I'm looking forward to, by the end of that game, being fully on board with banning the tush push because I'm so sick of seeing it. But whatever.
For real.
No, in all seriousness, though, I do stand by my original stance. Like, it's not like the tush push is unstoppable. The Washington actually was able to stop it earlier this year. So it's not like some super cheese play that is guaranteed to work no matter what. Man, could you imagine if the tush push was like a guaranteed 4 yards every time, and Philly literally ran it every single play because it would get them a first down every time?
And that would be utterly insane. Lead the league in fourth down attempts and conversions. Their punter just never playing at all.
Yeah. I read a story once back a long, long time ago. They allowed a midget into Major League Baseball. Like literally, like a guy who was like less than 4 feet tall was on a baseball team, and he got up to bat, and literally it was impossible to throw him a strike. So he walked on 4 pitches, and then he got pinch run for. And then the next day, the MLB banned midgets from playing in baseball because they were like, well, that's obviously not fair.
They need forget the Negro leagues. They need midget leagues. Oh man,
Yes, I found it. Okay.
never forget what they stole from you.
Wow. This midget who played in baseball, his autograph sells for more than Babe Ruth's because it's so rare.
It's amazing. Look at him! Look how tiny he is.
One official MLB plate appearance. I like how after they banned him from the league, the owner of the Cardinals was like, "Okay, well, the Yankees' second baseman is 5'6". He's a midget. You should kick him out too." What an asshole. Like 5'6" for a man is short, but it's definitely not midget territory. Not even close. Like that's an above average man in some Asian countries, I think. Like I think in Guatemala I think it's Guatemala, like men are usually like 5'2" or some shit. Like how his jersey number was literally 1/8. Man. How old is Peter Dinklage? Let me see here. 54. That's actually quite impressive for well, a dwarf, I guess is the literal term. Usually it seems like they don't last too long. Oh, I didn't know this. Peter Dinklage originally was voicing the AI in Destiny, but was replaced by Nolan North. Huh. Yeah, I think that's pretty much a spot on, Big Country. Although, I mean, what do we do about in like the situation? A lot of women, when they get really old, they shrink, and like a lot of women who were relatively normal height when they were middle aged become shorter than 4'10" when they're older. Like my aunt has shrunk to basically 4'10" at this point. She's like pushing up near 70. Oh shit. I just realized Snacks left the VC, but he's still playing the game. I don't think he has any idea that he's offline. I think his Discord crashed and he doesn't realize it. That's fantastic. Why doesn't that happen anymore? Trying to get his attention. I think he doesn't know his Discord crashed. Whatever. He'll see it eventually. Dude, no, look, right here, right here. Okay,
Apparently, the answer is yes.
okay. I'd been trying to get your attention for like the last 5 minutes because I realized you weren't in the call anymore, and I was like, I think, wait, did his Discord crash? And there's no way for me to get your attention because if your Discord's crashed, you can't get Discord messages. So I was like,
Oh man, that
there's
is
only
funny.
one way for me to get your attention.
I thought you were just fucking around, like jumping on top of me. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
There we go.
No idea. Just thought we reached that point as a night where like everyone's just sort of doing their own thing and no one's talking anymore.
No, I was talking more about that midget baseball player.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you were,
hilarious.
I think you had already dropped off when I said this, but after he got banned from baseball for obvious reasons, the owner of the Cardinals tried to protest it by saying that the Yankees shortstop was only 5'6" and therefore should be considered a midget as well.
Oh, that is outstanding. You may have banned dwarfs, but there's so many manlets in the league still. How is this any better?
Yeah.
My God, that is absolutely amazing.
And I looked up Peter Dinklage to discover that he is now 54 years old, which seems pretty
Oh,
remarkable for a midget. Usually they don't live very long, do they?
right. It's part of being on the extreme. You know, it's the same thing happens to midgets as happens to giants.
Right.
You know, the body's just not designed for that tremendous extreme of size. body typically just can't handle it, and then down you go. But at the same time, not a lot of midgets often have a ton of money, so if anybody can live to be 100 as a midget, it's probably Peter Dinklage.
The midget baseball player died when he was 36, but that was because he got beaten to death by a collection of people on his way home from a bowling alley.
Why? There he is. He ruined my fantasy team. Jesus Christ, man.
Apparently, he was followed home and beaten and robbed.
Wow.
I guess that's an easy target, right? If you're trying to find someone to steal from.
Yeah, if you've got a mob of angry people, uh, going after a presumably rich midget would be very easy.
Apparently, during the attack, he also suffered a heart attack at the same time as being beaten to death.
That makes sense. You know, if getting overly excited like that, yeah.
Man, I'm surprised the MLB didn't do something about him. They should have kicked him out Donald Sterling style if he kept making a mockery of the sport.
Well, I mean, what time period was it that he played professionally?
Oh,
During which decade?
this was 1950s.
Okay, in the 1950s, I think being even if you're a white midget, still saying that you wouldn't want your daughter to marry a black man would not exactly be controversial back then.
Oh, that's true. But like David was telling the story that one time this um owner actually had a grandstand manager day where all the fans would get placards that said either yes or no on them, and then the PR director would hold up cards with proposed moves like steal, bunt, change pitchers, and then the
Wow,
fans would get to vote on what the team would do next every time there was a decision to make. And the
that's
Cardinals actually
hilarious.
won the game.
Dude, how embarrassing does that have to be? The entire arena is voting on what to do. But you know what's coming ahead of time and you still lose anyway. Like imagine the arena just votes to bunt on every single at bat and you still lose.
I would do if I were there. No, no. I would get the pitcher to like bean the opposing batter every time.
Yes. Yes. Oh god, could you imagine that shit? It's a tie game. Oh man. Tie game, game's on the line. Fucking then all of a sudden the audience just goes crazy. Wait a minute, we're tanking for a pick, remember guys? And then they just say intentional walk until the team's losing. Oh my god.
JS, I think we have a memes page, if that a memes room, if that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, we do.
Like, imagine if every single at bat in a game just was a beanball. You hit the batter
Hey,
over and over and over again.
fantastic. Let me explain the brain damage. The umpires would obviously put a stop to it long before the game actually ended.
Pretty sure they'd
Even if
very
they had
quick.
to say,
Yeah.
yeah, they'd be like, okay, fuck it. Both teams disqualified. Since there's no ties in baseball, we're putting this one down as a double loss.
In Weep Sports Baseball, there is a way for the pitcher to hit the batter, but only the CPU can do it, and it counts as a strike for some reason because the game processes it as a foul ball because they treat the batter as an extension of the bat.
That is hilarious.
So if the CPU can actually strike you out on a pitch that hits you.
That's tremendous. I'm happy to know it. Could you imagine that happening to people trying to do like competitive whatever? How mad they'd be. My God.
Okay, 99%. What's left here?
It works. A seventh hole border. I've been working on this one before. I don't know what the fuck.
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, you work on that.
Ah, very nice.
Uh,
All right.
Gnomed.
We did it. We are the
Oh,
best power washers. All right. So let me check something just to be sure. But yeah.
Jeb is a mess.
Yeah, I'm confident we've done all of these. I'm thinking.
Mile high bathroom garlic shrimp and mash and
Okay. So all of the DLC maps for Tomb Raider show as new, but I know for a fact we've done all of these. I remember all these maps.
okay.
So I think that's a glitch. And the Midgar Final Fantasy VII pack, let me look at that. Yeah, I'm very confident we've done all of this. So the only thing left would be SpongeBob and Back to the Future, which is, of course, DLC. We're not going to do that tonight either way,
Right.
but that's the only remaining thing here.
Cool.
All right, you can go ahead and leave whenever, and I'll close the session. Is the God of War DLC good? I mean, it's not out yet, is it? To my knowledge, it doesn't. It they announced it, but I don't think it's. Or is it out? If it's out, I might have to look into that. All right,
Says coming December 12th.
December 12th. Apparently it's
4
free
days.
too.
Oh, nice. I'm looking into it right now. To show our appreciation for the incredible support and love you've given the game since its release last year, our team has been working on a surprise for the God of War community. As fans of our fans, we're thrilled to announce that on December 12th, we'll be releasing a free DLC as a gift to our players, God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. There's an epilogue to Ragnarok that follows Kratos on a deeply personal and reflective journey. Set after the decisive battle against Odin and Atreus' departure, Kratos has seen a path for himself that he never thought possible before. Brought to the mysterious shores of Valhalla, accompanied only by Mimir, Kratos will enter its unknown depths to overcome trials within himself and face echoes of his past. Only with Mimir? What about Freya? Why wouldn't she come?
What did Freya do at the end of that game? I can't remember. Did she go off on her own? I don't think so.
No, she's there with Kratos. They talk about how they have a lot of rebuilding to do, but they say that they're going to do it together, and they're like, we're going to start here in Midgard.
Yeah, maybe she is there in the DLC description, just doesn't mention her.
Control F Freya 0. Yeah, I mean, if they just didn't want to have her in there because they don't want to bring the voice actress back to do more stuff, that makes sense. You could easily canon it away as they've been working on shit, for a while. So Kratos is just going to here for whatever. Who cares? I'm sure they'll think something. But yeah, that's probably they didn't want to bring the voice actress back to have to pay her.
Okay. I'll probably make plans to do that then. It's a DLC, it's a free DLC. I'll bet you could beat it in like 2 streams.
Bro, this fucking thing that JS posted, this guy actually cooks in an airplane bathroom.
Like a passenger plane?
Yeah, like he brings along
Great.
like a power charger that goes into a cigarette car lighter thing. Then he uses some cables with alligator clamps, attaches it to a fucking 6-volt battery, and he cooks raw shrimp and instant mashed potatoes. Unbelievable.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming out. See you guys later today.